Star Wars. Episode 9, The Rogue Biden. Lord Revan, our position is strong. Were it not for these anomalies within the Force, the Jedi would already have been destroyed and the Sith Empire restored, declared Sidious emphatically, but he was cut off by Revan. The fault is your own. Do not think that in death, the Sith are blind to what transpires. Those who are at one with the dark side of the Force may flow freely through it, even in death. We have borne witness to your failures and those of your servant Darth Hillary. The air exploded with the sound of the crackling lava rivers around them as he spoke, his voice deep and resonant. This servant was sent by the Force. There is enough darkness within her to rival any Sith. She yet has a part to play in our inevitable victory. What then is your plan? Revan's expression remained unreadable as he listened to Sidious outlining his strategy. A full frontal attack would only play into the hands of the Jedi, said Sidious, his voice dripping with disdain. It would serve to unite the Republic and the Separatists against us, strengthening their position and bolstering their defenses. No, Lord Revan, we must take a different approach. He paused for a moment, searching the face of Revan for any sign of reaction or tell. Darth Hillary, Dick, WMD, and Miss Letus remain on Coruscant, ready to strike. They will take out the Chancellor, allowing Darth Hillary, under guise, to take chancellorship of the Galactic Senate. Revan's eyes narrowed slightly, yet he remained silent, allowing Sidious to continue. We must continue to sow discord and confusion among the Jedi, Sidious declared, his voice taking on a commanding tone. While they are distracted, we will strike at their heart. How? With the ultimate weapon, cackled Sidious, a sinister smile creeping across his cracked lips. The Death Star. It will serve as our final solution, he declared. It is a weapon of unparalleled destruction, capable of annihilating entire planets with a single blast. Once we have control of the Galactic Senate, we will lure all the Jedi there. And when they are gathered in that one place, we will unleash the full power of the Death Star upon them, crushing their wretched order once and for all. And the Senate? Asked Revan. It will be replaced by the Sith Empire. Very well, replied Revan, his voice still emotionless. We shall proceed as you have outlined. But know this, Sidious, victory is not assured until the last Jedi falls. Indeed, Lord Revan, he murmured, his eyes glinting with malice. Rest assured, the end of the Jedi Order draws near, and the dawn of a new era of Sith dominance is at hand. Revan closed his eyes for a moment and looked up. What is this power I feel in the Force? I do not recognize it. The Chosen One, responded Sidious with a scowl. The Jedi Grand Master Trump. Certainly, he has proven formidable with the Force and a cunning adversary. Great power has this Jedi. We would be foolish to underestimate him. We must turn him to the dark side, said Revan. He has proven incorruptible, replied Sidious ruefully. At that moment, both Sidious and Revan turned, sensing a powerful Force user approaching. Seldom does the traitor make a good ally, came a voice through the mist, followed by a tall figure with an enormous forehead. Ah, you return sooner than expected, my old master, responded Sidious with a menacing smile. Your fall was of your own making. Plagueis looked over to Revan standing next to Sidious. Lord Revan, let us together slay this renegade, and in so doing, join forces in union which shall rule the galaxy. This fight is your own, responded Revan coldly. Victory alone shall grant you redemption. So be it, snarled Plagueis, igniting his lightsaber. Sidious too ignited his crimson blade. I must say, I enjoyed the long, slow death I gifted you last time. It is the will of the Force that you must suffer this fate once more. Plagueis launched himself at Sidious. The clash of lightsabers echoed across the desolate landscape of Mustafar as Sidious and Plagueis engaged in a vicious duel. Plagueis fought with a ferocity born of rage against his treacherous apprentice, his movements swift. Clearly, death had not dulled his skills with a lightsaber. But Sidious was no longer the apprentice he had once been. He had ascended to the mantle of Sith Master, his power greater than those who had come before him. With each exchange, Sidious's movements became sharper and more intense, his attacks finding their mark with deadly accuracy. It wasn't long before Plagueis was pushed onto the back foot, finding himself desperately outmatched by the sheer skill and power of Darth Sidious. It was quickly evident that the duel was reaching its inevitable conclusion. Plagueis' defenses began to falter under the relentless assault of Sidious, who now laughed maniacally. Plagueis' movements grew more sluggish with each passing moment. Sidious, for his part, seemed to relish the opportunity to toy with his old master, his sadistic enjoyment evident in the cruel twist of his lips. With a final, decisive strike, Sidious cut off both of Plagueis' hands, sending his lightsaber spinning across the battlefield. As Plagueis fell to his knees, defeated and broken, Sidious loomed over him, his eyes burning with triumph. "Take him away," Sidious commanded his personal guard, his voice dripping with contempt. "His suffering has only just begun." But as the guards approached, Plagueis sensed his opportunity. He would not let revenge slip so easily. He would live to fight another day. Reaching out with the power of the Force, he began transferring his essence into a clone he had prepared in secret on Coruscant. Sidious, realizing his mistake too late, roared with fury as he watched Plagueis' body slump to the ground lifeless. But before he could act, his attention was diverted by the approach of several newcomers. Foremost among them was his old apprentice, Maul, flanked by a group of shadowy figures. Sidious's grip tightened on his lightsaber. "You," snarled Sidious, his voice dripping with venom. "You dare to show your face before me?" Maul's eyes burned with a fierce intensity as he stepped forward, his hatred unmistakable. "You took everything from me. You killed my brother," he growled. "But now I have returned to claim revenge." With a flick of his wrist, Maul ignited his crimson blade. Sidious sneered, but recognized this skilled assassin could be of great use to his plans. He deactivated his own lightsaber. "Many have returned by my hand to take their rightful place in my new empire. Join me, and we shall bring back your brother." Maul, taken aback, stared in confusion. "You brought me back. Why?" "It was your weakness which cost you and your brother. I am offering you another chance. Take your place by my side." After a long pause, Maul too deactivated his lightsaber and knelt. "I want Kenobi, and you shall have him. Arise, my apprentice." As Maul knelt before him, Sidious sensed more Sith approaching. The air around them crackled from the power that resonated from the mightiest dark side Force users who'd ever lived. Turning, Sidious beheld the forms of the Sith of old, of a dark side legacy that stretched back millennia, their presence a chill in the scorching air of Mustafar. At their forefront stood Ajunta Pall, the first Sith Lord. Beside him loomed Darth Bane, the architect of the Sith's greatest triumphs and darkest deeds. Behind them stood Darth Nihilus, blanketed by darkness, visible only by face, and Darth Tenebrous, a shadowy figure whose machinations had spanned centuries. Sidious and Revan exchanged a glance, acknowledging the significance of the moment. This was an unprecedented gathering of the most powerful Sith Lords in history, united under a single purpose: the destruction of the Jedi Order. With a nod of reverence, Sidious welcomed the ancient Sith into his fold, knowing full well the treachery that lurked within their hearts. After all, treachery was the very essence of the Sith doctrine. "Welcome, my brothers. We shall stand this day united against our common enemy," Sidious declared. "Together, we shall crush the Jedi and usher in a new era of Sith dominance. A new empire." The ancient Sith Lords bowed their heads in acknowledgement. But even as they pledged their support, Sidious knew that their loyalty was tenuous at best. The Sith were driven by ambition and desire, he no less than the others, and he knew they would not hesitate to turn if it served their own purposes. Back on Coruscant, as the strike team stood assembled in the hangar bay, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation and apprehension. Trump, flanked by his loyal companions, Yoda, Qui-Gon, Anakin, Mundi, Plo Koon, Obi-Wan, and the Prime Jedi, he stepped forward to address the gathered Jedi and clone troopers. My fellow Americans, as your Grand Master, I am proud to stand before you all today to lead you on this mission to save the galaxy. Trump began, his voice encouraging and uplifting. Today, we stand on the precipice of history. Our situation unprecedented. We face a foe unlike any other, one that seeks to sow chaos and darkness throughout the galaxy. Like SEAL Team 6, we will rid the galaxy of this absolute evil. He paused, surveying the determined faces before him, before continuing on. Like Bush, who should never have been in Iraq. Bill should never have been in those kids. The Sith should never have come back. Together, we shall confront the corruption that has plagued our republic and vanquish the Sith once and for all. His powerful words resonated with all assembled. Wise, Grandmaster Trump is, said Yoda, nodding his head in approval. Trump's words instilled his team with renewed determination and resolve. Did you hear that, Padme? Anakin asked Padme, who had come to see him off. Grandmaster Trump will lead the Jedi to victory. The twins will live in a peaceful galaxy once the war is over. Anakin had recently confided in his master the extent of his relationship with Padme, and to his surprise, Trump had fist-bumped him and advised him to name the children Donald and Ivanka. Anakin had obliged, naming the boy Donald Skywalker and the girl Ivanka Skywalker, much to Padme's displeasure. His master had then issued an executive order permitting the Jedi to have relationships. He berated the council members who supported the policy, outing several of them as frequent visitors to the brothels of Tatooine. And stay away from those younglings, he scolded Kit Fisto angrily. This change allowed Anakin and Padme to openly declare their relationship without fear of punishment and benefit from various tax credits. Vivek, Tucker, called Trump. I'm tasking you two to maintain peace and order while I'm away. Vivek, you will be my delegate at the Senate. I want you to put 50% tariffs on exports from the separatist planets and a ban on immigration from those regions. We can't afford another border crisis. Vivek acknowledged the orders with a nod. Remember, said Trump, turning back to address the assembly once again, our fight does not end with the defeat of the Sith. We must also root out the corruption that festers within the Republic. We must drain the swamp, dismantle the deep state apparatus, and restore order to make this galaxy great again. It is the living force that speaks through him, said Qui-Gon in awe at the charisma of the orange-faced Grandmaster. Behind them, a voice called out in the distance. Old friends. Brothers, it is good to see you all again. And under more favorable circumstances. It was Count Dooku, once a formidable Sith Lord, now standing before them with a look of contrition upon his face. Anakin immediately ignited his lightsaber, along with Obi-Wan. Who's this guy? Asked Trump. It is Darth Tyrannus, scowled Obi-Wan. I see you have your hands back, smirked Anakin. I will take them from you again. You will not have need of your lightsabers, Master Skywalker, Master Kenobi. I come seeking redemption, said Dooku, regret evident in his voice. I have seen the error of my ways and realized the true extent of the darkness that consumed me. I would have told you everything if you hadn't executed me on the invisible hand. You did what, Anakin? Interjected Obi-Wan in shock, but he was cut off by Dooku. I was deceived by Palpatine, betrayed by my own ambitions. But now, I wish to atone for my sins and fight alongside the Jedi in your struggle against the Sith. Trump studied Dooku for a moment, reading the old Sith's face for signs of deceit. I sensed the sincerity in his words. He told the others, many of whom looked back at him in disbelief. How? He betrayed the Jedi cause. His actions led to the death of countless innocents. I agree with the Grand Master, interjected Qui-Gon, vouching for his old mentor. We must trust in the living Force. Thank you, my old friend, responded Dooku with a nod of gratitude. Then, turning to the assembled Jedi as a whole, Dooku addressed them with humility. I know that my past transgressions have caused great harm, he began. But I ask for your forgiveness and the chance to prove myself worthy of the Jedi Order once more. I am ready to do whatever it takes to help defeat the plague upon the galaxy and restore balance to the Force. The Jedi Council exchanged glances, silently deliberating Dooku's plea. After a moment, Trump nodded in agreement, a gesture of acceptance and trust. Very well, Dookie, Trump said. You shall have your chance at redemption. May the Force guide your path. At that moment, all felt a change in the Force, a disturbance close by. Yoda closed his eyes in meditation, searching the Force for answers. He opened his eyes after several minutes. Arrived evil has upon Coruscant. Darth Biden, Darth Hillary, many more, including this molester of men, P. Diddy. There is no time to deal with this now, said Trump. Our priority is cutting off the head of the snake on Mustafar. Perhaps there is another option, interjected Dooku. I will attend to the disturbances here while you are away. Alone, too dangerous it is, said Yoda. Perverted the Force has become around Coruscant. Ahsoka and Master Shakti, together, shall go. Very well, sanctioned Trump. Now let's go. The strike team followed him onto the ship. It would take 8 days to reach Mustafar, so they all settled in for a long journey. Trump took a seat between Yoda and Anakin as the ship took off. Trump took the opportunity to educate his young apprentice on many matters during this time, advising him on life, business, politics, and women. But Padme, began Anakin again for what felt like the 100th time. I understand. She doubts your skills with your lightsaber, Anakin, but have you ever shown her the Force or grabbed her by the... But Trump was cut off before he could finish what he was going to say. Yoda, his eyes still clouded from his deep meditation, cut in. Difficult. This battle will be, he began. Powerful Sith have arisen, ancient and formidable. Deadly, the confrontation will be. But Trump was determined to stay firmly on topic. What about you, Yoda? You got your own little green gremlin girlfriend stashed away somewhere? Yoda's eyes shot open, looking around at Trump and Anakin awkwardly. Permitted relationships are not, an example set we must. But Master Trump changed the code prohibiting attachment and relationships, interjected Anakin excitedly. Yoda pursed his lips disapprovingly, opting not to respond. Guys, a 900-year-old virgin, whispered Trump to Anakin, who laughed. Yoda closed his eyes again, as if searching the depths of the Force for answers. Returning to Mustafar, the Sith are, drawn by the dark side's call, he said gravely. A murmur of unease rippled through the ship. The inevitable confrontation grew closer. Dark Force powers we will face. This galaxy has not seen for 1,000 years. Let's see what Jedi Prime has to say, said Trump. I'm sure he'll have seen plenty of dark stuff in his time. The Prime Jedi woke from his own meditation and began recalling the details of his battles with the Sith of old. As he spoke, Trump recalled the little gold ring Gandalf had given him, which now lay hidden, resting upon a chain around his neck. Gandalf had informed him the ring had great power and would enhance his connection to the Force greatly. He had a feeling it would be needed on Mustafar. Back on Coruscant, night had fallen. Dooku felt a hidden darkness approaching the Jedi Temple. Determined to redeem himself, he took up his position at the entrance to the temple and waited. He watched from afar as slowly the lights across the city were blocked by an approaching darkness. In the distance, he could just about make out two figures approaching. The shadow grew, reaching the foot of the temple, spreading a blanket of overwhelming fear across all those it touched. The temple guards fled in dismay at the approaching terror, leaving Count Dooku alone to face the coming evil. "So you have come, but no further you will go," said Dooku, igniting his curved lightsaber as the two arrived before the entrance. "Step aside, old fool," said the cloaked Biden with such menace in his voice. Dooku felt a heavy chill touch his heart, but he gave no outward sign of change. He looked down at the smaller of the two figures, but no less evil in its aura. "Darth Hillary, I have watched your failures through the Force. It is a wonder you chose to show your face again." "You will all die," snarled Hillary. Dooku laughed. "I hear your husband Bill has a thing for younglings," he retorted. At these words, Hillary's face contorted into a grotesque rage. She ignited her lightsaber and flew at Dooku. Biden raised a black steel sword, which after a hiss of command ignited in red flames. Elsewhere in the Senate district of the city, Ashoka and Shak Ti watched as above them the shadows spread, blotting out all light. After hours spent searching for the dangerous creature P. Diddy without any success, they had heard rumors of women being attacked to the south of the city, but had so far found nothing. Upon seeing the shadow above them, they agreed it was time to get back to the temple. It was then they heard a female scream down a dark alleyway to their left. After a quick glance at each other, they darted down the alleyway to find a strange-looking man standing over an injured humanoid-looking female. The strange man was clad in sunglasses and an excessive amount of jewelry. "Is this the stunted creature we're looking for?" asked Shak Ti with uncertainty. They ignited their lightsabers as a precaution. After all, Yoda had warned the creature was highly dangerous. "You there, unhand that woman and identify yourself," shouted Ahsoka. "I'ma smack you up like Cassie," the creature shouted at the downed woman, appearing not to have heard them. "I killed Biggie. Me, ain't no body fuck with the bad boy for life." "We must be careful, Ahsoka," Master Yoda warned. "This creature violates its victims and can sever your connection to the Force."
Thanks for joining us on this adventure. If you enjoyed the journey and are eager for more wild fan fiction, don't forget to hit that like button, share with your fellow fans, and subscribe for more episodes. And if you're as enchanted by the idea of Middle-earth meeting Hogwarts as we are, make sure to check out our series exploring this magical crossover. Your support brings these worlds to life. Until next time, keep the fantasy alive.